Hey, how you doing? It's me, Alex William Smith, better known to many of you as Jonathan Royal, hypnotist of ultimatehypnosiscourse.com and magicalguru.com. I'm just going to give you a quick review of a online course package put together on what James Brown, magician and professional opportunist, calls reality bending. In other words, the use of suggestion in a manner where quite often you don't mention the word hypnosis. Take a look at this. For those interested, you can go to powa.academy/reality-bending. That link will of course also be above or below this video, and you will find on there the full sales information, as it were, and background info on the reality bending course from James Brown, and you can go and have a good old look at that, and I recommend that you do, so you'll see the context of this review. Basically, the one thing I would say is that anything it says it will teach you on that webpage is taught within my Elite Hypnosis Bootcamp at ultimatehypnosiscourse.com, and have a look here. It's on sale at $397 United States dollars, which at the current exchange rate isn't far off, to be honest, being £397 sterling. Here's the thing, as I do this review on the 10th of November 2022, you can actually go and get the Elite Hypnosis Bootcamp from ultimatehypnosiscourse.com for £397 United Kingdom sterling. It's currently on offer with 90% off if you hurry, although it might have gone back up when you see this at a later date, which means that for basically around the same sort of price, you'll be able to learn everything inside the Elite Hypnosis Bootcamp, and that's it in a nutshell. You'll be able to learn anything taught in this package inside the bootcamp. Now, below this video, I'm also going to put the link to my review of James Brown's book, Professional Opportunist Wrongless Approach. It is a great book, and the link is above or below this video, and I recommend you get a copy. The idea of the wrongless approach being that you can never be wrong, you can never fail, which is something that I've been teaching come 2023, which is a matter of a few short months away. I've been teaching to people around the world for the past 30 years, and I was taught it before that, many years before, by Dr. Brian Howard of the Association of Professional Hypnotherapists and Psychotherapists and the Association of Professional Stage Hypnotists, which I then later was so impressed with that I bought the companies and the names and the rights, and also by my former mentor Delavar, the grandfather of hypnosis, whose parents and grandparents were also involved in the industry when it was years ago called mesmerism and suggestive therapeutics. The point being, there is nothing new here. That's it in a nutshell. The review is that it's a great package. It's taught well. If you've not studied anything else, then it's an invaluable study. But here's the thing. It's going to cost you 397 United States dollars, which isn't far off at the moment, being £397 United Kingdom sterling, which is, you know, because the exchange rate keeps changing, but at the time of doing this. And the point is that for that price, I have to, as a reviewer, look at it and go, where's your money best spent? And the fact is, at ultimatehypnosiscourse.com, at the moment, it may have gone back to its normal $4,997 dollar price in the future. In fact, it will have done. But if you're seeing this around the time of the video release, go and check out ultimatehypnosiscourse.com, and I guarantee you that anything and everything you could possibly learn from the reality bending course by James Brown is taught to you in one or more or multiple areas of the Elite Hypnosis Bootcamp that you can get for a single one-time only investment of £397 United Kingdom sterling at the time of this video being released on the 10th of November 2022. Obviously, everyone's prices could alter in the future. One thing is for sure, there is nothing you can possibly learn from the reality bending course that is not in some manner taught in one or more places inside the Elite Hypnosis Bootcamp. And indeed, inside the Elite Hypnosis Bootcamp, you'll discover the background and the truth about where people like Anthony Jacquin in head hacking, who James Brown refers to, where Anthony Jacquin actually learned various techniques in the past that he doesn't openly talk about now, but he did post about on my Hypnotorious Yahoo News group, and all the files of them are in the bootcamp, so you can see what he learnt off me over the years and how he then went on to teach it to other people, but maybe didn't all the time mention sources, as it were. Although you will see my name on the credits of the Mancunian Approach DVDs at Alakazam Magic, to my eternal shame. They use my idea for a coin-bending hypnotic suggestion routine, but boy, I wish my name wasn't on those DVDs, because they don't cover anything, well, certainly not to any level you should know about duty of care, health and safety, legal issues and all that kind of stuff relating hypnosis, which is another unfortunate little thing regarding the reality bending course. It has next to nothing in it about health and safety, duty of care, legal considerations and such like. It is covered, and in fairness it's covered better than many other so-called street hypnosis or stage hypnosis or suggestion from magician and mentalist products out there on the market. However, it doesn't even scrape the surface properly, as I'll explain shortly, when for literary and review purposes, as is allowed under the Copyrights, Designs and Patents Act, I'll show you a little clip from the stuff and then make my comments. However, the transparency template, which on its own retails for about $150 off the top of my head, but you get that inside the bootcamp anyway, the Elite Hypnosis Bootcamp at ultimatehypnosiscourse.com, and that is the world's most comprehensive resource on the laws, the legal issues, the regulations and actual laws around the world, because it's not just England, there's other places in the world that have regulations have to be followed, and it's not just hypnosis or suggestion related laws, it's stuff to do with street performing or doing things in licensed premises that can become relevant and you need to know about, as well as health and safety, duty of care and the effects of doing these things on any public liability insurance you may have, and the real dangers. There are real potential physical and psychological dangers of people participating in so-called hypnosis, suggestion or such things that you need to be aware of so you can minimise the risk, how avoid them from occurring, and know what to do if they did occur, so that you then are less likely to end up like Phil Damon, a British hypnotist whose real name was Phil Howarth, who ended up having to pay out £6,500 damages in the 90s, along with thousands and thousands of pounds legal costs, which bankrupted him because I gather he didn't have the right insurance, or it was invalidated, or they just won't cover it. They're all very important considerations. So the short review is, you know what? Just buy James's book at the link above or below this, have a read of that, and then go to ultimatehypnosiscourse.com and invest a single one-off payment of £397 United Kingdom sterling into the Elite Hypnosis Bootcamp, and you'll learn everything you possibly could. And way, way more, because I guarantee it's the world's largest, most comprehensive and best value for money hypnosis, both for therapy, entertainment and every other context you can possibly think of, training package available from anyone, anywhere in the entire world. So confident I am, it comes with a full 1 year, 100% satisfaction money back guarantee. Fully explained at ultimatehypnosiscourse.com. So there you go. Continue to watch.
Is a vital component of hypnosis, or relaxation is necessary for hypnosis to take place, or that you're guiding them into an altered state of reality and putting them into a trance. When we realise that all of these things are just another suggestion, that they are part of the ingredients that make up the whole, you're free to use them. So. In the UK, there are some laws regarding the demonstration of hypnosis from a show point of view.
That'll be the 1952 Hypnotism Act.
Getting up in front of an audience, having sold tickets for them to come to a theatre to watch a trance hypnosis show. There are restrictions and regulations, but the reality is, suggestion isn't regulated. should it be, neither can it be. So,
just to be clear, the 1952 Hypnotism Act in England, interpretation, it's the section 6 where it says interpretation. In this act, except where the context otherwise requires it, the following expression shall have the meaning hereby assigned to it. That is to say, hypnotism includes hypnotism, mesmerism, and any similar act or process which produces or is intended to produce in any person any form of induced sleep or trance in which the susceptibility of the mind of that person to suggestion or direction is increased or intended to be increased, but does not include hypnotism, mesmerism, or any such similar act or process which is self-induced. In other words, arguably there is a loophole that all hypnosis is self-hypnosis, and the way James Brown teaches reality bending is telling people that they're imagining things themselves. However, there's also instances where what he does in the course, a good lawyer could argue that a process or similar act was being used with the intention to produce a trance, or what the average person on the street would recognise as such, where susceptibility of the mind to suggestion or direction is increased or intended to be increased, but does not include the self. Well, look, the point is, you could argue that, but you could also find that you'd invalidated your insurance if someone had got footage and had a good lawyer and claimed that you damaged them in some way, even though we know that it's probably nonsense.
So, for those people in the UK who are pioneering shows where trance is not happening, there is no hypnotic sleep, and there is a clear understanding of what's really going on, they are actually free to do things that look theatrically bold, because they understand what's going on, and that's really what we're coming down to. I'm not saying don't use the sleep.
Oh dear, oh dear. Yes, there is an argument all hypnosis is self-hypnosis, and there's the argument that self-hypnosis is exempt from the 1952 Hypnotism Act. But you try telling that to your insurer if someone was to make a claim that you'd somehow physically or psychologically or emotionally harm them in some way. Now, that may sound like scaremongering, but if you do your research, you'll see that in the United Kingdom, stage hypnotists have successfully been sued by people who've claimed that they've ended up suffering psychological trauma due to things that the hypnotist or person in charge, whatever name they were using, suggested to them to do. And it's very clearly been defined in court that suggestion does come under the 1952 Hypnotism Act. I mean, I'm sure a good lawyer most definitely can argue this, and it has been argued in the past. The fact is that in England, you do need a permission under the 1952 Hypnotism Act to give a public demonstration of hypnosis in any, not just entertainment venues indoors, but also it can be outside in public places, thanks to the amendments of the Licensing Act 2003. Incidentally, the 1952 Hypnotism Act was also amendments, model conditions were added in 1989. There was then a Home Office Safety Report in 1995, which led to the 1996 government review and updated model conditions, which should also be taken into account along with the 1952 Hypnotism Act, as well as variations that occur because of the effects of the Licensing Act 2003 here in England, and also standard duty of care and health and safety laws should be taken into effect, and the consideration that normal equity members insurance in England, or normal entertainers insurance for magicians and mentalists, does not cover you for using what is defined in law as hypnosis. So therefore it doesn't really cover you for suggestion. If you got real lawyer arguing it, you would find that you would more than likely lose if you were trying to use your insurance policy for something that could be argued to be hypnosis or suggestion, because the equity insurance clearly says it does not cover for Hypnosis Act when, from the moment the person is put into trance or goes into the process of what could be defined in law as hypnosis or suggestion, which means that your insurance will be invalidated. Yes, this arguably means, genuinely, you see a magician apparently hypnotise his assistant or do the mime of it so that she then closes her eyes and apparently looks what the average person would perceive as being hypnosis before putting them, levitating them or whatever. Well, arguably under the 1952 Hypnotism Act, to the letter of the law, a good lawyer could argue that that hypnotist would need a licence to a permission, as it were, from the local authority before being able to do that in public. Now, this doesn't have to be a paid ticketed show either. Just going out and about like these so-called street hypnosis meetups do, is, if done the way certain people incompetently teach. I'm not saying James Brown teaches it incompetently. He's a very good teacher, in fact, although his reality bending course had next to nothing in it about health and safety, duty of care, or the laws, and some of that information, frankly, is lacking a little bit, in so much as the fact is in England, you have got the 1952 Hypnotism Act. There's not just England, there's some other places in the world where you need permission of the government, central government or local authority in order to perform what is hypnosis or suggestion, or could be perceived as such by the average man. And there's places where hypnosis and suggestion is outright banned. But, in America, people like Kreskin have got away with saying that hypnosis doesn't exist. And whilst there is that argument, and he's always been successful with it, the safest thing is just not to break the law. If you are going to use loopholes, there are loopholes in the 1952 Hypnotism Act. They're fully described and taught in my transparency template package. The details are above or below this video, which will also teach you all you need to know about stage hypnosis, street hypnotism, and combining hypnosis for magic and entertainment anyway. But more importantly, it teaches you about the laws, the health and safety, the duty of care, the licensing stuff. For England, massively, but also for considerations that are relevant to other places in the world. It's not just as simple as saying all hypnosis is self-hypnosis, or that they're not in a trance or sleep-like state, so therefore we're just giving them suggestions and therefore we're exempt. No, it's not that simple, because you may invalidate your public liability insurance. You need a policy that covers you and states it covers you for when you are using suggestion, and I would argue also clearly stating the word hypnosis, otherwise you could get in legal hot water if a really good lawyer came along. And in England there's been people like Phil Damon who $6,500 was what the court said he had to give the person who was labelled as his victim, who claimed to have suffered psychological damage due to suggestions that he'd given. But his legal costs were way, way, way more. It bankrupted him. There's been other people as well. Health and safety, duty of care are key. And that's why it takes several hours alone, about more than 4 hours, the Transparency Template Project, just to cover the health and safety. You should not be doing these sort of things without first having taken into account all the health and safety stuff. So just to finish up and clarify, am I saying that the reality bending course by James Brown is really comprehensive in what it covers about suggestion for magicians and mentalists, and also doing entertainment hypnosis, whether you call it stage hypnosis, street hypnotism, or just label it as suggestion? Yes, I am. I'm saying it's actually far better, more honest and more comprehensive than the vast majority of products out there for magicians, mentalists and related performers who want to look at things in this area. The vast majority meaning those things that are not released under my name. Because am I also saying that there's nothing in the reality bending course that I wasn't already teaching 30 years ago? Yes, I am saying that. And in fact, I'm directing you to the fact that at ultimatehypnosiscourse.com, in my Elite Hypnosis Bootcamp, which is the world's most comprehensive online resource and training area for all areas of hypnosis, both entertainment, therapeutic, also involving magic, mentalism, and other modalities. That in there is absolutely everything you could possibly learn in the reality bending course, but also tons of other stuff besides, including, most importantly, health and safety, duty of care, the legal obligations, a whole bunch of other things that it doesn't cover. So, you know, you get far better value for money at ultimatehypnosiscourse.com.